Hello chaps and chapettes, and welcome to the Double Back Monthly for July 2017. Yay! What is the Double Back Monthly, you're asking? I'm glad you asked. Yes, you asked nicely. What it is a video that I set up in conjunction with my Patreon. It's a kind of a video blog where I recount everything that's happening over the month of, you know, all board game related stuff, obviously. I'll be talking to you about games that I reviewed. I'll be talking about games that I've played for the first time. I'll be answering any questions. If you have any questions, you can email them to me at ominousbarry@gmail.com. And I also do my prize draw for my Patreons that have paid who have donated, not paid, donated over $5 to win a copy of a CD of mine. Lovely that. So you can always go along to Patreon. There's a link, ding, up on the screen now, and you can go check out all the promos and bits and bobs that I have, and see if there's something for you. But anyway, let's get straight onto the video with what games I reviewed. So what games have I reviewed this month? Wow, I'm going to start with this one, Freak Shop, which is a small, light card game which sees players as hotel owners and they want to decorate their hotel to the best of their ability. Because it's Halloween's coming, and there's a great costume shop, and so they're exchanging stuff and selling stuff with the shop, and it's just a simple case of trading cards from in front of you with cards in a pool in the middle, and each player will have a turn to do this. And it's you can either trade for the value of the cards that you put in the middle. So if you put in 3 cards which equal a total value of 9, you can then take out maybe 6 cards which equal the total of 9, or 1 card that equals the total of 9, up to you. Or you can trade the value, or not the number of cards, sorry, not the value, the number of cards. So you could trade 3 number 1s for 3 number 4s. And there's some variants. No, there's not some variants, but there's some different ways of scoring, because you have these 3 different score categories, and they're on tiles, and each of these 3 categories have 5 different ways of scoring, and so you can mix and match these to however you like, or randomly, to score. It's very, very light. The theme is kind of like non-existent. The art is very, very nice, although it's just samey because it's 10 different types of cards. It's an enjoyable, light family game. It's a kind of like Uno kind of family style kind of game. If you like that kind of thing, this is for you. I gave this one a 7 out of 10, but obviously the production quality on it is excellent, stellar, and as I said, it's aimed at that kind of family light card game market. So again, the video's been up. There's a little link that's just popped up. If you want to go and check out my review there and find out a bit more about the game and how it plays, you can go watch it there. Next up, we have my good friend Mr. Tappy Mocket's game, Blackwood, which is a game where the players are all witches. Yes, you'll be going to be playing a female sorceress, I don't know, but you live next to Blackwood, which is a magical forest which has all these wonderful ingredients, and you'll be making potions, and it's a competition to see who can kind of like impress the board of witches in Blackwood the most with their potions. And so you're going to be sending out some of these kind of like marionettes, a bit like the ones in Final Fantasy 9, or was it Final Fantasy? It's Final Fantasy 9, yeah, you know, the with the big pointy hat and the googly eyes. You're going to be sending these guys out in the forest to collect ingredients for you, and you're going to be paying them for their services, and it's a worker placement. But this forest is magical, and as soon as someone comes back, the forest moves and the ingredients move, and it's a very tight resource management worker placement game, where you're going to be, as I said, getting the ingredients that you want to make the potions, which will give you points. You can sell the potions to get your money, because money is very tight in the game, or you can trade 2 the potions in to get a spell which will help you out. It's like a special power, so to speak. And the game plays over like 3 days, and you're going deeper and deeper into the forest each day. It's a very, very deep and, as I said, very tight Euro game, and if you're into those kind of games, this is definitely for you. It's a little bit too thinky for me. There's too much information on the table for me to look at, because you've got all these ingredients cards and all these potion cards, and you're trying to suss out in your head what is the best position to place your one marionette out in. And unfortunately, I've had to sadly give it a 7.5. The production quality is fantastic, apart from some very dark card artwork, and it's a bit hard to see. But if that sounds at all for you, go and check out Blackwood. Again, links popped up and you can go jump straight to that video. And last up, I did a Kickstarter preview. It's my first impressions of a game called Cover Me, which has a really unique theme of, you know, fashion magazines. And you're going to be an editor of a fashion magazine, and every month you're going to be putting out an edition of your magazine, and you're going to be choosing one of your cover girls from your hand of cards. And they all have different characteristics, like different colored hair, different length hair, and again, different colored dress and different patterned dress as well. And so each month, every player is going to be putting a cover girl on their magazine, and this is going to influence the public. So if lots of players play blondes, then blonde is going to be the most popular color hair to have. So the public are like, woo, blondes. Okay, at the end of every 3 months, you will total up everything and see if any of your models have all of the top categories: the color of the dress, or the pattern of the dress, the color of hair, the length of hair. If any of their models match up with all the highest statistics that the public want, then those cards will score you at the end of the game. It's a very slightly long game, but it is very light. It's got a great theme. The theme and the mechanics mesh really, really well. And each year as you go on, there's a new color dress which is involved, and these new color dresses give you more points. And so there's this kind of like back and forth. It's quite an enjoyable Kickstarter. So it's still running as I speak right now. I put a link up here to the video, and afterwards I will put a link in the show notes for the Kickstarter, so if you want to go check it out. And that's Cover Me. Not bad kind of fashion world board game. Welcome to the first impressions corner. You don't put baby in the corner. You can put Barry in the corner, but you can't. Anywho, first impressions, my first and last. This is my first impressions section of games that I've played over the course of July, which have been the first time that I've played them. And I give you my first impressions of them, and I tell you if they're my cup of tea or if they're not my cup of tea. Okay, well, let's start off with Flamme Rouge, which is a game where you're doing the Tour de France, and that's why I'm doing a French accent. Yeah, Flamme Rouge is a bike Tour de France race kind of game. You will construct a course with these tiles that you can create whatever course you want, or there's some preset courses, and each player will have 2 cyclists. One's a sprinter and the other one's the other kind of bike rider that there is, and you'll have a deck of cards for each of these bike riders. And what will be happening is you'll be choosing one card for each of the bike riders, and then once everyone is chosen, you reveal them and you activate them in turn order. And so, like, it might be a number which advances you 3 spaces, or it might be a number that advances you 5 spaces. And there's some slipstreaming rule. After everyone's moved, if there's like 1 space between 2 players, that the back player can slipstream and move in a bit closer. And it's a kind of really light family style kind of game where you're trying to get your bikes across the line first, the furthest from after the checkpoint. And you're doing it by managing your cards, and you can get these cards which go into your deck, which will clutter them and give you like really low 2 movements and stuff, and that's when you are out on front. If you're out in front by a mile, you get like a lag card for that cyclist. And so it's a kind of hand management, kind of deck building, slight style kind of game where you're trying to race around a course. It's not bad. I've heard lots of good things about it, but at the end of the day, is it my cup of tea? Possibly. It's, as I said, it's not bad. I'm a bit undecided. It's a game that I can take or leave. But that's because I found another game which does the same thing, but better. What's that game, you're asking? Well, it's Dorado, which has been nominated for the Spiel des Jahres, and I think it's won as well. Dorado is, again, a deck building race game. This time you're racing through like jungles and lakes and mountains. Well, you're trying to dodge mountains. And again, it's tiles, these hexagon tiles, which you make up a course on the table, and each player's got one adventurer, and you start with a deck of 10 cards, and you'll be drawing 4 or 5 of these, and you're going to be playing these, and each of them has a different terrain on it. So if you play like a jungle terrain, you can move 1 space on a jungle terrain. If you play a water terrain, you can move 1 space on a water terrain if it's adjacent to your character. And there's lots of other cards that you can buy into your deck. Yes, there's some cards which have money, so you can buy other cards, and some of these cards are very powerful, but they're one shot. You discard them after you use them, and some of them are jokers that you can use for any terrain. Some of them will give you more money, some of them will give you extra special powers to draw cards, and oh, this game was fun. I really enjoyed playing this game. This is definitely my cup of tea, and one that I definitely want to look out for. It's slightly heavier than the Flamme Rouge. It's definitely more interesting because of the different terrains and how different people play differently. There's some volcanoes. If you go next to them, you can take a tile off of these volcanoes, and these give you like special powers. But as I said, the concentration is really on your deck building, examining the route that you've got to go in, and trying to deduce where you're going to go around the route, because the other players will block you. The other players will, you know, take the tiles from the volcanoes in front of you, and it is a real nice puzzle strategy kind of race game, and I really enjoyed it. It did remind me of Salmon Run, which again is a game I really kind of like that, but this was so enjoyable and so light. I'm not too keen on the graphics and the bits and pieces like that, the card art and the tiles. They're simple and you understand it, it all makes sense, but they're not the prettiest game, but it's damn enjoyable. That was Dorado, my cup of tea. I'm gonna have to buy that one. Another kind of really enjoyable family-like card game is a game called Pyramids. Players are going to be building pyramids with cards, and each turn players will choose what position they want to be in. They want to be first, second, third, fourth, or fifth. If they're first, they can only play one card into their pyramid and start playing a card into the pyramid. And these cards have got bricks on them, obviously. And you're going to be making a pyramid with these cards. And these bricks are all different colors. And you want to try and make different routes with these colors, because you're going to score massive points at the end of the game if you for your longest routes of color of brick on the pyramid. There's also an obelisk. Again, if you play like the second or third player, you can play a card in your pyramid and a card on your obelisk, or there's a tomb. You play a card in your tomb, and the cards have like a special icon. Some of them have special icons, some of them don't, and these special icons will give you extra points if they're placed on your pyramid or in your tomb or on your obelisk. The game plays over a certain amount of rounds because everyone would have built a pyramid the same size, and you score for the coloured routes on your pyramid and whatever is in those 3 places. Very light, very kind of fun, kind of Carcassonne-y, but not as nice as Carcassonne. It's my cup of tea. It's a game that I wouldn't mind. It's a small kind of box as well, you know, it's kind of slightly smaller than Carcassonne. It's a nice family game, really enjoyable, colourful, simple to understand, simple to play. It played really well. You can play up to 5 players, I think, because you've got 5 positions that you can choose from during the course of the game. And yeah, it was really, really nice. And I think that was nominated for a Spiel des Jahres as well. And that's Pyramids. Really enjoyable. I want to play that again. Don't know if I'd own it, but definitely want to play it again. And last up, it's sat right next to me. Using my muscles. This is the expansion that I have here. the base game is there. I haven't played the expansion yet. Xia Legends of a Drift System. It is a kind of very American style board game where everybody has a different spaceship and they're placed in a different part of the galaxy and they can do whatever they want. You can just go explore the universe and find different systems and different planets and get points that way. You could do deliveries. You can pick up goods from one planet and deliver it to another point and get points for that. You could go and chase the bad guys. Anyone that commits a crime, you can go chase them and blow them out of the sky and get points. You can be the bad guys and do lots of nasty things, blow other people up, or just go and take cargo from one place to another and get points. You can roll a 20 on a d20 dice and get points. This game is just an open universe, an open sandbox for you to go in and explore. There's missions that you can go on. You'll be taking mission cards from time to time. There are titles that you can earn if you fulfill the requirements. It might say first player to pick up 4 carbon cubes will get this, and it give them a victory point. And I've played it twice now, and the groups I played it with really enjoy it. It's just, but it's strange because it doesn't feel like a game. It just feels like an experience, but it is a game. And you're just exploring and doing what you want, and maybe someone will piss you off and shoot you out the sky and do lots of damage to your ship. Yeah, the game probably sounds boring from my explanation, but it is really integral and interesting. You've got your vessel, which is made up of different cube spaces, and you'll be either filling those spaces up with cargo, or you'll be filling them up with things to make your ship better, shields or guns or missiles. And all of this costs money, and all of this takes space as well, because these outfits, as they're called, will be like Tetris pieces, and you're trying to arrange your ship so you've got all the spaces that you need. Every time you take damage, you put a crystal on one of those spaces, and therefore you can't use it. You can't store anything in it. If it's on an outfit, it will decrease its power, and it was just enjoyable. We only played a starter 5-point game. It was the first player to get to 5 points won, and it was enjoyable. And it was what I wanted from Firefly, the game. Yes, Xia is definitely my cup of tea, and I'm looking forward to tonight when I play a 20-point game. We're going to go for it with first player to get 20 points. That'll give us a chance to trade in our old ships and get bigger ships, and get bigger weapons, and get bigger money, and bigger planets, maybe. Yeah, Xia was an enjoyable blast of a game. The rules are very self-explanatory, but finding them in the rule book is a bit of a pain. The rule book is not the greatest rule book. It's like a step back to the 1980s, where you got to go to paragraph 7.3.2 to find out what asteroids do to your ship. Although it is nicely laid out in coloured blocks, it's just frustratingly, your head's going to be in that book a lot, trying to find little things which you think that's the rule for that. But anywho, I still enjoyed it, even though the game is very long, and it's probably going to be a very, very long game tonight. That's Xia, Legends of a Drift System. So now it's question time, and your chance to ask me a question, and I will answer it, however stupid that question may be. It may be, what is my favourite vegetable? Which I can easily tell you would be, oh dear, is it tomatoes or cucumbers? Cucumbers give me gas, I keep burping, and tomatoes, they burn my intestines. But I like both of them. There you go. So you can ask me questions, and I will answer this question right now, which someone has sent me at ominousbarry@gmail.com. In fact, well, nobody sent me a question, so. I just thought of a question though, just purely by chance. After playing Xia and thinking, my God, this is what Firefly should have been. What kind of, IP game would I like to see? This is the IP game that I would like to see. Babylon 5. I'd like to see a good Babylon 5 game. And there's probably lots of games that emulate that Babylon 5 feel, like Twilight Imperium or Eclipse. But you need the characters, a bit like Xia. Xia needs the team of Firefly, or some of the different characters in the background to go on board your ship and act out, and have their special powers and bits and pieces like that. And that's what I think a good game should have. I mean, the Babylon 5 universe has some really, really rounded characters. Not just the main principal ones, but some of the side ones. From Justine to Besta to Droll, who was on the Great Machine. These are just little side characters which were just there to guide the plot and be a part of the big overall thing. But I think, in a game, you want to be able to choose your allies and explore and make it your thing. I'm sure that you can probably do the same with Game of Thrones as well, because again, in Game of Thrones, there's so many rich background characters that you love. I mean, Bronn's not really a principal character, but I love him. He's so cool. And then you got some of the other little characters, like Tywin. Tywin was good. Yeah. I just realised Jakar can't sit down. But anywho, yeah, I would love to see a decent Babylon 5 game. Because I think that's what the world is missing. And I think that will come round eventually. I've got a couple of I've got Babylon 5 CCG, which I haven't played because the rulebook is like from the 80s. Okay, if you make an attack, you have to go to page 9, paragraph 7.4.4.2. And I got the Hex Combat one as well, which is exactly the same. I've played it, and it was nice, but I want something modern, fresh, and that kind of real big air of Babylon 5. Because Zenan, Jakar, I hate you, Jakar. Puff. There you go. There's a question answered. Send your questions to omousbarry@gmail.com. To get the raffle. Prize draw. Yeah, it's that prize draw time. Yes, you too can be entered into this prize draw by being a Patreon and donating $5 or more to my Patreon. I'm going to say Patreon one more time. Patreon link. If you go there, you will see lots and lots of different promos that you could get yourself. I've got promos for Zombicide, Spoils of War, Seven Wonders, Dixit, lots of old games, lots of new games. So go along, have a check that out and see what you want. And if you want a soundtrack CD of my last night soundtrack, zombie soundtrack for horror games, you can go and you can win it by getting your name in this hat. And if you don't want to, you can always go and listen to it free. Yes, if you go to CD Baby, The Balance of Power, you can go and listen to Last Night for free. And you can also go and listen to the Seventh Continent soundtrack for free there as well. Yes, I've done that as well. The Seventh Continent is a board game that everybody should receive in the post pretty soon. So I should be receiving mine pretty soon. But anyhow, yeah, I got the privilege to do the Seventh Continent soundtrack, and maybe I should do a question time about that. Hey ho! If you like soundtracks to your game, go check them out. The Balance of Power on cdbaby.com. Okay, let's see who has won a copy of The Last Night this month. We have Elephant Girl. Congratulations. Yes, I will send you another copy of Last Night. I'll also send you some few other little bonus promos that I have, especially for you. So, there you go. That's the Double Back Monthly finished. I will say thank you to my backers and sponsors and donations. Elephant Girl, thank you very much. Who else should I thank? I need to thank Olivier. Thank you very much as well, sir. You're a good friend. You're a good chap, and you live local, so postage is pretty cheap. We have Kevin. Yes, thank you, Kev. Thank you, chap. I love you lots. I'll see you tomorrow night for a Berkey and Badger's board game babble. And we have Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. Pleasure. It's a great pleasure to have you. And we also like to thank Curly T. Yes. There you go. That's everyone thanked. Yes. Thank you, Londo. And so look out for some more reviews coming soon. There is some more Kickstarter videos that I have lined up when the Kickstarters actually come out. So I will say ciao for now. Remember, please play nicely with each other because it's only a game, and it, you know, kind of like sets a good example for everybody else as well. Remember, you don't have to buy every single board game out there because there's not enough shelves in the world, I don't think. Poor IKEA. Just sitting at the table now.